court her for a dime, I'll rhyme, but give me some nickels and I'll tickle some pickles. Welcome to Comedy Bang Bang. Thank you to I Changed My Name for This, SPD. For that catchphrase submission. That implies that people are changing their names because I have not been picking the regular contributors to the catchphrases. So please don't do that. Leave your names as they are, and we will pick from the pool. Welcome to Comedy Bang Bang. My name is Scott Aukerman, the host of Comedy Bang Bang. This is coming out approximately a week and a half after a momentous event. Of course, we're talking about Guy Fawkes Night, November 5th. And we have an incredible show coming up. We have someone who works for the government is going to be coming up a little later, and that's very exciting. And we also have an entertainer and an author, and a director will also be here. And that's a good show as far as I'm concerned. I mean, when you get someone who works for the government and an entertainer, I mean, that's I consider that to be the spectrum. And speaking of the spectrum, here's someone who may be on it, may not be on it. I don't know. I don't like to speculate about those kind of things with our guests, but he is I'm a big fan of this guy, one of the world's greatest stand-up comedians. You know him from Saturday Night Live. You know him from Tough Crowd. You know him from Remote Control, where I first got to know his work. He has a new HBO Max special out right now called, I'm going to say his name in the title. Why don't I just mumble when I say his name? Because I hate saying the person's name before you actually introduce him. So Colin Quinn Friends, a parking lot comedy show out on HBO Max right now. And he has a new book called Overstated, which is also out now. Everything is out now. Please welcome for the first time to the show, Colin Quinn. Hello, Colin.
Hi, Scott. Thank you very much for having me on the show. You know, I love the show, but of course I only see it in my time capsule of the Oh Golly years. The Andy Daly Oh Golly.
Yes. Well, that was quite a while ago. Yeah, quite a while ago.
I used to drive and listen to the show.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Always nice to meet a fan. It's it's so wonderful to hear. Colin, it's great to have you on the show. And, I've been a big fan of your work since the 80s. Is that possible?
Yes, 88. That's when MTV Remote Control started.
Incredible. I was a big fan of that show. Used to watch it at approximately 3:30 every afternoon.
Yes, you were a pimple-faced teenager.
Yeah, and now I'm a pimple-faced 28-year-old. But of course, we know your work from Saturday Night Live. One of the best to ever do it there on the Weekend Update desk.
Well, thanks.
You're sort of you don't buy that. Not even you buy it.
No.
Colin, you have this parking lot comedy show. I just watched this. It's very, very funny. I didn't know what to expect. Can you describe it, and then we'll talk about it a little bit?
Well, I've always considered myself a parking lot philosopher. No, I'm just kidding. No, I was trying to combine backstage with like instead of just straight stand-up special, do sort of half people before the show and during the show.
So if you were to describe this to like TV Guide, you would just say, I tried to combine backstage with...
Maybe I'd say synthesize. I don't know what I would say.
Well, I think the important part is that this is a COVID stand-up special.
Oh, that part, yeah. No, yeah, but I mean, that was an excuse, yeah, but you're right. Of course, it was a parking lot because it was all car audience. Meanwhile, I'm thinking of like my thoughts of like, hey, yeah, right. It's comedians talking to cars, right?
You and we've heard of comedians in cars,
yes,
getting coffee. There was no coffee in your special, and this was taped adjacent to the East River out there in New York. Is that right?
Yes, it was in Greenpoint.
And so it's essentially, when I heard it was your show, I assumed you were going to be hosting. But instead, you let Rich Voss eat shit.
Yes, I let Rich Voss take the bullet, which is, more enjoyable and more organic.
So it's about 10 comedians or so doing a show for cars in a parking lot on the adjacent to the East River. And what I thought was really interesting about it was that it truly embraces how badly everyone is doing up to a certain point.
Yes.
I think a lot of stand-up comedy shows would try to disguise that because you're putting on a show and you want everyone to be laughing, and instead you're really laying into like how badly Chris DiStefano is doing.
Yeah. And the greatest is everyone leaves the stage like, I don't know, instead of going, good night, thank you, you guys are great, everyone's like, I don't know if that went good, I don't know, and it just kind of wanders off the stage.
I mean, Rich gets up and he pretty much, what is interesting about the cut is that you spend a lot more time with the people after people sort of figure out how to do it and do it well. And all of the early comedians get approximately 90 seconds in the cut because any more than that would be cruel to them.
Yeah. Well, because it is, Chris brought up a good point, which is nobody said, hey, honk and flash your lights till after he was off. So it looks even worse than it is, you know?
That's right. Rich Voss comes out.
Honking.
People were honking in appreciation, but only after Rich comes up, eats shit. And then Chris, I believe, is the first comedian. He eats shit. Yep. And then Rich Voss comes out and goes, hey, everyone, honk your horns and flash your lights if you're having a good time. And then everyone like starts to give, some feedback.
Yeah. And that was a chronological. That was the order it was actually done. So it wasn't like I put that in. That was exactly how it went, And then I also really liked that it continually cuts back to the comedians who are kind of in not the green room area, but the green room area in a parking lot. And some, sort of half listening to the comedians, which is pretty true for a comedy show. Trying to basically not listening to the material as much as wanting to gauge how the crowd is or what they're responding to. And everyone's really deconstructing it and figuring out why certain people are doing well, why people are not doing well. It's really fascinating. Yeah. It's the like I say at the beginning, it's a fascinating look into comedy that nobody could see unless you've listened to any podcast the last 10 years.
Right. Not this one. We don't talk about comedy usually.
Oh, you know,
I just have I have strange weirdos on the show. Present company excluded, of course. No, but I really went into it kind of going, it's hard for me to watch stand-up comedy a little bit because I produced, a show of it for 11 years and I'm just kind of, it's like, it's a little hard for me to watch. But so I expected kind of to dip in a little bit and go like, watch your material because I'm talking to you. But I watched the whole thing straight through because it was just really an enjoyable.
Oh, good. Thanks.
An enjoyable watch, especially to see the comedians sort of like mentally put together what is going on and then adjust. It was really interesting.
It was, you know what I mean? And it's interesting to see when you can't, like, because we all know stand-up comedy, all comedy is just so saturated that where everyone's used to a certain thing. So taking laughs away from stand-up comedy is a good thing.
Yeah.
But in my opinion,
well, especially to film it, I mean, it made me think like, wow, I would probably watch a series just about people bombing. I mean, I think that's a little more even interesting than watching people like kill, on their specials and stuff.
Absolutely, and killing sometimes can be a crutch too, in a certain way.
Also, one other thing I found interesting was one of the comedians said that you were encouraging them to do new material, which it seemed like, and this is just my impression of it, and tell me if you think I'm right or wrong, but the first couple people bombed so hard that it seemed like people went to their act a little bit more after that.
I know. I mean, most of that stuff was new. Maybe a couple of people threw a couple of bits in, but that's what happens on a show too. I mean, Everybody goes to stand up with the noblest of intentions. I can't tell you the amount of times I've walked on stage right from all new stuff. And I'm like, watch this. And then 10 minutes in, you're like, you're just like, you're suddenly surviving, you're treading water. And you're like, hey, guess what? I'll do 20-year-old stuff if I have to right now.
Why did you want people to do new stuff instead of going to the act, which I guess people would be a little more comfortable doing?
Well, because I had to do all new stuff. Why shouldn't they? First of all. Second of all, because when you see a special like that, like even you're saying, you watch it, you're not going to watch the whole thing. If you're watching people go into automatic their act, automatic pilot, because even though that's your act and everybody works hard on it, but there's still a time. And I told everybody, I go, it doesn't matter. You're not going to get laughs anyway. There's no way they can laugh. They're in cars. So who cares? Nobody's going to know your bomb except for you, basically,
It was interesting also. I started to, because there are laughs. You can hear laughs after every joke, like, some comedians more than the others. Was that sweetened at all? Because I was wondering how, so you were miking what, the cars or the parking lot itself?
We mic'd the cars. We all in the parking lot outside a little bit.
Okay. So, but could the comedians hear any of the laughs, or was it kind of totally silent for you unless it was honking?
I didn't hear any laughs during my set. I mean, I heard a couple of honks, and one honk, you can see I got annoyed because I felt like it was one of those honks, like somebody trying to show, like,
right.
Like now you're interpreting honks. Like, I know that was meant in a different way than, hey, supportive. Or it was like supportive, like, I get it.
Right.
Either way,
it's
annoyed.
It's a lot like when you're driving and getting road rage because someone was honking a little too loudly.
Right. It's the way people honk. So you start to read more into it. It would be interesting to see what happens if this continues for the next 20 years.
I don't know how anyone can do it, because it really illustrates how important the feedback from the audience is to the comedian, because without it, you're just sort of lost in a drift, not knowing, should I be clarifying something? Should I be adjusting something?
It kills you, but the audience is so important for us, right? It's more collaborative than any of the other. These other people that go in and work on the album for 6 months, whatever it is, we need the audience, whether we like it or not. We need these bastards to help us do exactly what you said. Edit, know when to stop, when to get to the punchline, know when to shorten, know when to, when it's not there.
A lot of times, like, a comedian will say something that they think is really funny and it'll get nothing, and they'll realize, oh, I didn't explain that right, or I need to re-clarify it for the audience or whatever, and you have no idea when you can't hear it.
You have no idea, yeah. And that's what's so great and horrible about stand-up comedy.
Let's talk about your book. It's called Overstated. It's out now, and this isn't your first book, I don't believe, is it? Or
it's not my first rodeo.
Okay. So you've done a rodeo, you've done a book.
Yes.
What's Overstated about? What does the title imply? What is the material therein?
Well, I mean, it's about the 50 states. It's just about every state's history and how they got the personality they have today based on their history,
Interesting. So it's like a historical book mixed with your observations about it, or?
Yes, with me being from going to that state doing comedy over the years,
Oh, interesting. Okay, so this is based on your own experiences traveling to the places.
With historical.
Oh, interesting.
The foundation is historical stuff.
Right. What are you doing during quarantine? I mean, obviously you did this one show that you filmed, but the documentary doesn't go into anything else you've been doing during quarantine. So it leads me to ask, what did you do for the other 8 months minus 2 hours?
Well, I wrote the book. I mean, the second half of the book I wrote in quarantine.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that addressed at all, or?
Yeah, I bring up COVID and everything in the book.
Wow.
I just bring up diseases and, but I mean, because if you can't finish your book during quarantine, you're never going to do it. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. There's like so many chores that I've told my wife, like, oh yeah, I'm going to get to that. And if I haven't gotten to them now, there's, anything that you've put off, you're just never going to do it. Just stop the, I guess, not dream, but delusion.
Yeah. Yes. It's a dream and a delusion.
That's true.
Aren't all dreams delusions, and aren't all delusions dreams?
That's really interesting. I mean, talking about dreams like that, I'm fascinated with dreams, and love to unpack them. What's the weirdest dream you've ever had? Have you ever had a really strange one?
Oh, I've had some sick ones lately. But last night I had one that I was homeless. That I had to go do something important. It was almost like a bad, like one of those like movies where, you have a big meeting, a presentation. My dream is actually a bad, like, chick flick from the 90s. But because I had some vague presentation I had to do. But anyway, right. So I had to be dressed nice, and it was in one of those glass offices. But I was down in this basement, and all I had was my smelly, like, laundry and his clothes. And so I'm trying to, like, hide, and I had like a ratty suit on, like it was almost like a rat haired suit. And I had to, like, somehow I was like, how am I going to get to a shower? It was a whole thing trying to figure out. That was last night.
You also, I was reading you got married recently, and then suddenly you get married, and then you're immediately in quarantine. What is that? I think it's fascinating that people like newlyweds suddenly having to adjust to being around each other all the time. Like,
oh yeah, but we lived together for so long, you know. It wasn't like, you know, yeah,
right.
We weren't like some arranged marriage where they brought her over from Eastern Europe, and I never met her before. You know,
would you be interested in that if that were a possibility?
I mean, the way it rolled off my tongue, probably, yeah. Only going to my subconscious. That's my next dream for tonight.
All right, I've done this with other people who have been on SNL before. It's time for us to ask the question: Dream SNL cast, ultimate SNL cast. You can pick 7 people, and one of them has to do update.
And these are people that have been on the show?
See, Colin, you're the first person to ask that, because usually people just pick who have been on SNL before, and then I follow up saying, like, I would pick Charlie Chaplin, and Jesus would probably be pretty good because he'd be doing miracles. You're the smartest person so far who has asked that very important question.
Oh, good. All right, so my dream cast is
anyone in history or in the future.
Okay, well, what about these are people that could be great on it. Jim Carrey would have been great.
Okay.
Because he does a great impression. I mean, I know he's on now doing Joe Biden.
Sure, but he's not an official cast member.
Jamie Foxx.
Okay, great.
How about this? David Allen Greer, who was offered SNL when I was there and turned it down.
He turned it down?
Yeah.
What was going on with Greer?
He was just doing a bunch of other stuff. I heard he turned it down. This is all, hearsay, but I was there, so I'm sure it was probably true.
Interesting.
I'm sure it was probably maybe true. And, and, cause he was so great at doing, he did really great, like, he's
amazing.
Very specific characters.
Was he doing his Broadway stuff at that point or something? I don't know. He's doing
a lot of Broadway stuff.
He's such an interesting guy. He played my boss on, the TV show Comedy Bang Bang, and we had a lot of long conversations when the cameras are stopped down, and and so I learned a lot about his career. But he never brought that up about turning down SNL. That's fascinating.
Yes, he's tried to keep it a dark secret. Now I'm exposing it. Lily Tomlin.
Wow, the interesting choice. Yeah.
I mean, she used to do the best characters. I'm old, so I really remember when she was on Laughing.
Right.
And she did all these characters, and she was only. Remember, they're flying blind in those days. Nobody's like, hey, I'm going to do these characters that are kind of real. People are like, what are you doing that for? Do the act. Where's the mother-in-law? And then, so she would have been.
Okay, so we got 4. One. We got 4 right now.
Right, and we need 7.
We need 7, and one has to do update.
All right. Well, I'll tell you this has nothing to do with it, but I'll pick these 2 people just because I'm getting lazy. And also because I once asked my friend who was a producer there for 100 years, I go, who are the best in your opinion? He knew everybody, did them, whatever, and had good taste. So I said, who are the best sketch people, pound for pound, forget about anything. And he said, Eddie Murphy and Sherry O'Terry.
Oh, interesting.
Pound for pound,
pound for pound. Now she's a smaller woman.
Yes, well, pound for pound doesn't mean it means you can be smaller. That's the whole point of the expression, pound for pound. Pound for pound is supposed to remove that immediately.
Oh, okay. Pound for pound is removing weight? I thought it was like pound for pound, meaning like, if you're bigger, you have more talent, and if you're smaller, you have less talent.
No, it's the opposite of that.
Oh, okay.
That's why pound for pound, Sugar Ray Robinson versus,
Oh, I see. Okay.
Muhammad Ali.
Okay, removing pounds from it. Okay, so we have 6
I'm
at this point.
I'm using them because I'm too lazy. I use those 2 because I'm lazy, and they, but they were both amazing people to put in a sketch.
Okay, so we have 6 people, 4 men, 2 women, and we need someone we need one more, and we need someone to do updates. So if none of those 6 are your update choice, we need your update choice then.
Okay, my update choice, none of them are my update choice. My update choice is...
You're really taking it seriously. I appreciate this.
I am. I like this kind of stuff. I mean, just think when you're little and you're sleeping over your cousin's house and you can't fall asleep and you're just lying there, you have to think of stupid games.
Right,
this is
yes.
the kind of thing
That's this podcast to a T, yes. Running out of stuff to talk about, have to come up with stupid games.
All right. I mean, does it have to be popular with the public or does it matter?
It does not matter. It could be anyway. It doesn't have to be a famous person. It can be anyone you've ever met.
It's a famous person, but it might not be popular with the public.
Okay.
Adolf Hitler. Now, hear me out.
Okay. He had a lot of ideas. He was a great communicator. I mean, if you watch Triumph of the Will, he really knew how to connect with an audience.
Anytime you say Adolf Hitler's a suggestion, you have to say, now hear me out right afterwards, or you're going to be in trouble.
Hear me out, though.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Who would be, I mean, what about Charlie Chaplin? A silent weekend update. You said Charlie Chaplin was one of your guesses.
And he just makes faces at the news, about news stories.
Yes.
Yeah. It's interesting. A lot of people pick people who have done Update before because they have their favorite person who's done Update. You decide not to go that route because you don't like anyone else who's ever done Update, apparently.
Yeah, no, I don't appreciate it. I don't like when I did it. Why would I like them? No, a lot of people are good at it, but yeah, you don't want to pick one of your friends. Then you run into the next day, of course, you're going to run into somebody else who goes, "Hey, man, I see you on Comedy Bang Bang. It was great." And you're like, "Oh, I wonder if they saw that part." Of course they did, because one of their friends rats you out. Here's what nobody talks about now. Now that you bring it up in social media, nobody talks about how often you get ratted out by fans of both of you.
Twitter snitches all the time.
Day, every day.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
Just stop it. Stop it. Like the tag part. Here's the problem with Twitter. Twitter's great, but if you could remove all of the part where anyone can ever say anything to anybody else and remove the tagging and basically just make it like, press releases that we all put out and no one can ever respond to them.
Absolutely great idea.
This will make it more popular.
Yes.
That's a shame that you don't think you did well on Update. I enjoyed you. You did it for 2 years.
Thanks. Yeah, I did. It was crazy.
What was it? I mean, what was it like? You came after Norm Macdonald got fired, and even you were a fan of Norm doing it, obviously. And, what
I
was
feel
it?
like that shaded my time there because I couldn't believe that I'm now going to be the good guy who's like the corporate guy standing up for, you know what I mean?
Right.
So then I sabotaged myself more just on the fact that I was like, this is sickening to me. Like the idea that I would be that guy. So then I feel like I kind of sabotaged. I look back now. I didn't know it at the time, but I look back many years later, I go, why were you always frowning? Why were you sabotaging? And I'm like, that's why, you know what I mean?
Because you didn't want to be NBC's lapdog? Is that?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because somehow suddenly I'm in this position. And then I was like, all right, I'll make it really ugly. But I didn't realize I was doing that at the time.
Interesting. So you were frowning during all of your jokes, not having fun, essentially to stick it to NBC.
Well, to make sure that they didn't think I was their guy.
Right, yeah. So to make sure that the audience doesn't think that you are like, oh, good, Norm's gone. Now I can really shine.
Yeah, I feel like that was a part of it anyway. I mean, I have a bad attitude in other ways to begin with, so I can't put it fully on there.
Did you get on the show hoping to do Update? I mean, a lot of, SNL has a lot of sketch people, but they also sometimes get stand-ups like yourself. You, of course, have done both, especially on Remote Control. But did you get on kind of thinking like, well, I'm more of a stand-up. I would love to like get behind the desk at some point?
No, but what I was doing right before, when Norm was doing Update, was my happiest. My first 2.5 years there, I loved being on SNL. Because I would do these little characters, write stuff, and it was like in my form. Because my form is not one-liners. Like Update's a bad fit for me.
Right.
Because you're wearing a suit, you got pictures behind you. It's everything I don't like. Instead, it's not my style.
Right. You're more of a stand-up comedian who can take a topic and extrapolate upon it for several minutes.
Yeah, that's what I'd rather do, And
right.
so it was an ugly fit for me,
Right. Did you were on Remote Control with Adam Sandler. Did he help you getting on SNL? Did he recommend you at all, or was he like, hey, I'm staying out of this? Or
Well, he recommended me to be a writer. I wanted to be a writer on there like 3 years before. And he recommended me to be a writer. And so I went there with my sketches. I didn't realize the dynamic there. So I show up trying to show them this sketch. I wrote this sketch, which you probably like it on Comedy Bang Bang now that I think about it, because it was basically,
stupid.
It was like they felt it was too smart, but it was basically like, it was sanctimonious, facetious, all these different characters in this Roman Colosseum, but they're all like personalities that kind of based on their, sanctimonious, facetious. Anyway,
right.
But, and they just looked at me like, like I came in, they say you came in hot. I came in earnest. So I'm like, hey, I have these sketches. And they're just like, you know what I mean? Ooh, sweaty. And so, but Adam did recommend me to be,
So how do you get hired if your sketch is so bad?
My sketches weren't bad. They were good.
Oh, they were good. Oh, okay. I'm confused here.
I'm not telling the story the way I want to.
Okay.
But anyway, forget about that. So then 2 years later, Fred Wolf, who's a head writer there, he goes, you got to see Colin Quinn. The fact he's never worked, it's ridiculous. They come to see me in LA. I go on after a comedian that just, talking about the greatest situation ever. I'm going on after a comedian that kills in front of, because this is like 94. So comedy's dead. So they have to paper the room all the time.
Right. Yeah.
They paper the room with a camp. It's 15-year-old kids.
Oh, like who are at summer camp or something? Like on an excursion?
Yes. Wow. 150 kids from a summer camp. So I can't think of a worse crowd I could possibly have. I mean, I'm just being like ironic and throwing my little references and, being like whatever I am, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they hate me. I mean, you could not have bombed worse than me. But Lauren was like, he's a writer. And they hired me as a writer. That's why I got hired as a writer.
Right.
They came to see me to perform and they're like, he's a writer.
How do you do the transition from being a writer who obviously is a performer but not on the show to then at some point it happened with you and Leslie Jones and other people, like it never happened with John Mulaney, but like how does Lauren come up to you and say like, oh, by the way, I think that you're a good performer too, we're going to put you on, or what? How does that transition happen?
Well, John Mulaney's not a performer, and I've always said that, and it's not a popular opinion, but he's what they used to call a back office. That's how they used to call people where you wouldn't, But no, so it doesn't happen like that. It was a whole new...
The transitional year, with Chris Elliott, right, and Mike McKeon.
So then they're like, no, not with those guys. Those guys that left, that was another transitional year.
Oh, okay. So it was a few years after that. Okay.
This is when Will Ferrell and then all of those people showed up, Molly and, but anyway, they're just like, oh, they need update features. Do one of your things for update. Like my friends would tell me. And they just, you'd put them at the desk and if it worked, it worked. So it was really doing update features. And like I said, that was my favorite things to do. I would rather have just stuck doing those things, Yeah,
it seems like a lot of people, the update desk can be a blessing because people, you're saying your own name. And so it makes you more famous, but it also can be a curse because some people just would rather be doing sketches. Like, I guess Cecily is probably like, she gave it up after a year, I think. And, but Jimmy Fallon, he gets to do both. But a lot of people are just stuck there behind the desk and they never get to do anything else.
Oh, right. But I mean, when I was just doing pieces on it, like when Cecily, what was funnier than that Cecily character, the girl you stuck next to at a party. Like that's the perfect update piece to me.
Yes, exactly.
Like
and then Lauren sees that and goes, why don't you actually be the one being the straight man in that instead? And it's like, no, that's no fun.
Right.
And I speak from experience being the straight man on this show. Well, Colin, I thank you for indulging me with so many SNL questions. I appreciate it. I mean, obviously, you've done so much more, and your career is so much more than just those few years that you spent on that show. But we're all fascinated with the goings on behind the scene.
Yeah, and like I said, when I used to walk in there, that first 2 years, I walked in and I was like, I can't believe I'm walking into 30 Rock and go to work at SNL, you know?
Colin, your show, Colin Quinn and Friends, a parking lot comedy show. It's on HBO Max. It's out now. The book is Overstated, and I mean, bookstores aren't open, are they? I mean, some are probably in the country, but who knows? You can get it mailed to you. You know, go to an independent bookstore. They're happy to mail it to you. We need to take a break. When we come back, we will have someone who works for the government. That's exciting, isn't it?
Whoa! Yeah,
you were blown away. Amazing. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more Colin Quinn, more Comedy Bang Bang. We'll be right back after this.
I'm Kevin Hart, and you don't want to miss my new show, Inside Jokes, where I have the opportunity to talk to comedians in ways that I've never been able to talk to them before. Why? Well, because I believe that we're the most interesting people on the planet. Intimate conversations, and not the way that you think it. I'm not talking about nasty talk. I'm talking about real talk, raw talk with great dialogue. Inside Jokes is about jumping into the minds of our amazing comedians. Inside Jokes is available now on Stitcher. Just tap the image on your screen and add it to your favorites.
Comedy Bang Bang, we're back here. Colin Quinn, his show, Colin Quinn and Friends, a parking lot comedy show on HBO Max, out right now, and I enjoyed it, so why shouldn't you? You know, that's a pull quote for you if you want. Also, the book Overstated is out, and we need to get to our next guest. She works for the government. She's been on this show before. She's a park ranger, and she's one of our favorite guests. Please welcome back to the show, Margery Kershaw.
Oh, hi, Scott. Good to see you.
So good to see you.
This square.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I am a little square. Yes.
Well, you know what? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You're in a little rectangle. Oh, gosh. You know, I hate not being precise, but you are in a parallelogram, no matter how I slice it.
Thank you. So you've become interested in geometrical shapes, apparently, since you were last on the show.
I have actually, Scott.
Oh, good.
And do you know why?
Why is that?
Well, because guess what? I got another transfer.
Oh, yeah. By the way, this is Colin Quinn. Colin is an entertainer.
Hi, Margery.
It's nice to see you.
Margery, you've worked in a few different national parks over the years. Where did you start?
I started in Pinnacles, a newer park in California, and you can remember it's nature's jazz hand. It's rock structures.
Why is it called that?
Well, you know, that's what I called it for fun. It's it sort of sticks up in a fun way. It's a rock formation. You know, we have a lot of geological parks in the system. Then I got moved to Gates of the Arctic, the least visited park in our system, but you have to get there by plane, but we don't give you any official hike recommendations, so that's cute. And then I went to, and then I was at Dry Tortugas.
Oh, Dry Tortugas, that's right. What was Dry Tortugas again? It's the turtle one, right?
It's a military base, and you can't camp there. That's cute. And we kind of got sidetracked and went on a treasure hunt. I think when I came to talk about Dry Tortugas.
Right.
And now I'm back in one of the newest additions to the national park system. We're up to 62 parks that are official national parks, Scott, not part of the NPS, which covers, you know, monuments, national forests, et cetera,
of course we know this, right?
You
Colin?
know all this. You know all this.
Yeah.
We're all saying it in unison. They had to mute them because it got confusing.
Sure, of course.
And, you know, well, it's a little controversial, and I'm going to try to keep my opinions out of this because, you know, I believe in just being a steward of the service. But
that's right. Margery believes, Colin, in the separation of church and state. She doesn't let her religious feelings color her commentary about the parks.
That's right. Devout Methodist, but that's all I'll say. So the Arch, the gateway to the West, the Arch in St. Louis has become an official park as of 2018.
It has, really?
Yeah. And
Colin, did you know this when you were writing your book about all these different states?
No, I mentioned the Arch I mentioned it for a couple of pages, actually. I never.
What do you talk about when you talk about it?
Well, I just talk about how it's two ways you could look at it depending on how you view the country.
From above or below, or what are the two ways?
From the east to the west?
No, more like ideologically, I think.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What did the gateway to the West really mean?
Exactly.
Probably a bunch of bad things. But what's interesting about it, Scott, is that it is, in fact, 17 feet at the top. And it is also 54
wait.
feet.
It's 17 feet to the top or
no, at the top. That's
what?
The dimensions of the top. And get this, the size of the windows are approximately 7 by 27 inches.
7 inches by 27 inches?
Yeah, that's right. So pretty exciting stuff that I get to talk about now, Scott, that I've been transferred. And so that's why I said it is actually interesting to talk about geometry. The capacity of the observation platform is 100 to 140 persons. So it's a lot of fun for me.
Oh, yeah. You ever have to kick anyone off because like it's at 144 or anything like that?
Absolutely, Scott. You know, we have to be safe first.
How do you kick someone off of the top of the arch? Like you can't just, like throw them off.
No, Scott. We don't let them in the elevator in the first place. We actually have a pretty significant radio system. That's been fun for me because at the gates of the Arctic, at least, I didn't get to radio any pals. And now I get to every day say, hey, what are we at? Oh, no, I let up a family of 5. Shoot, we're getting close. Hold the line. And that's exciting. It doesn't compare to the wonder of the natural world. But
I was going to say, all 3 of the parks that you've worked at before, they seem like these grand vistas with mountains and the earth and the sky. And now you're stuck in an elevator all day?
Yeah, and I'm trying to have a good outlook on it, Scott. Just trying to see it as an opportunity.
You seem down,
well,
I have to say.
I would say getting into the National Park Service, you don't imagine standing at a big silver arch. That's not why you do it.
Holding a clicker.
Yeah,
and a walkie-talkie.
That sounds like something I would do if I was monitoring the line of Space Mountain.
Sure. Was that a job that you at one point were considering pursuing, or?
Being a cast member?
Sure. Yeah, well, the lingo. I mean, I was a cast member, so
Scott, you were a cast member?
I was backstage. All the lingo. Cast member.
My mom was a cast member.
Where?
Well, in the early 70s, she was a broom in a parade.
In the Bedknobs and Broomsticks?
Phantasmic. The part where the brooms come to life?
She
was a dancing broom and she was actually, she was given a little slap on the wrist for waving to her family because that's not how brooms behave.
Okay, very interesting.
So yeah, I did consider it, obviously.
Obviously. Colin, you ever go to Disneyland?
I never have.
I can't imagine you there.
I was once doing an MTV thing we did in Orlando, literally 10 blocks from Disneyland, and I still never went.
I don't know why I took a shot in the dark, assuming you'd never gone, but I just cannot see a Colin Quinn at a Disneyland.
I've never even had a thought about going.
You don't think that maybe you would get in there and be sort of like, wow, look at this, or I want to go on that ride, or anything like that?
I don't even know what's in there.
Do you know any of the characters? Do you know who Mickey Mouse is?
Yes. Well, I used to go to Coney Island. My high school girlfriend lived right next to the Cyclone, so I feel like I might have been spoiled by going on the Cyclone a lot when I was in.
That's what you chose to do with your high school girlfriend?
Yeah. Well, it was part of a big picture.
Okay, I see.
You have to imagine. There's a lot going on.
Sure, of course. Well, Margery, I feel terrible for you. I mean, you out of anyone who's ever been on this show, you're one of our most optimistic guests. You're just a ray of sunshine. But now, speaking of rays of sunshine, you're no longer able to see them for most of your day.
Well, yeah, and that's tough because even when I do see them, they are sort of violently reflected off of the metallic surface of the arch. And we're not allowed to wear sunglasses as part of the official ranger uniform.
Why is that? Because people are unable to gauge your emotions?
You have to be able to make welcoming eye contact at all times, Scott. So it's a lot like being a cast member on Survivor. I always think, boy, that's the only reason I couldn't go on that show. No
because
sunnies.
Of the sunglasses issue?
Yeah. No sunnies in there on those beaches all the time. So that's tough. But Scott, I've been this is now my 4th park. So I'm keeping a hope alive that one day, I could end at one of the jewels, a Zion, a Joshua Tree, a Glacier. At this point, I'd be cool with Indiana Dunes, one of the other newer parks add to the official system.
I mean, this is bad for you, Margery, because like you a lot of people when they get transferred, like in Colin's dream, they just like change floors in a big glass building, but you have to pack up your entire existence and move to another state.
Yeah, and right now they don't provide, sometimes in parks there's a very cute ranger housing. We're all in little cabins together. I mean, it's a lot like being at summer camp, which is, again, why I got into it.
You get excursions to go see Colin do stand-up.
Oh, my gosh. Paper that room with rangers and we'll be laughing, We will be laughing, especially if you got any fun takes on bees, because
Colin, what do you got on bees?
You got any minutes on bees?
Anything throughout your career on bees?
No, no. A lot of insect humor, though. I do have a lot of insect jokes.
Okay. Well, yeah. Right. Would you take just another insect, Margery, or?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I just, a lot of the viewpoints and vistas through our national parks, we do have to warn about bees. So that's why I love seeing them get boom roasted, even though obviously we need to protect them. But I would take any insect joke for sure. But anyway, Scott, here. Yeah. I'm just in an apartment that I get a small subsidy for, so I don't have that same sense of community. So yeah, no, it's not the best. It's not the best.
Do you have like upstairs or downstairs neighbors? And
Yeah, I have both. Yeah, and the floors are quite thin. I'm getting broomed from both sides.
Just like your mom.
Just like my mom.
Boom, roasted, by the way. Speaking of which, wow. So, how can they make these floors so thin? I mean, I think they have to be kind of a regulation thickness, don't they?
I don't know.
Pound for pound.
Yeah, pound for pound, these floorboards are not doing their job. I don't know. I tried to say, hey, we're all walking here, but especially during quarantine, people are home a lot more, and it's like, I'm aware of. I'm getting in the sense of. I think I understand, Mr. Rafferty's patterns. He needs a snack at about 11:30 because he does the walk and stands by the fridge. And I can feel him. He sort of does a side-to-side shuffle, can't make up his mind. It's like, that's so funny because he knows what's in his fridge. How long do you have to look at it?
So you guys have been spending a lot of time together but separate.
Yeah,
so you're really learning his patterns. Yeah.
That's right.
Well, that leads me to wonder, during quarantine, are people going to our national parks? I can't imagine getting into an elevator and being up there on that 17-foot long top of the arch.
Yeah, I should say the elevators are currently closed, as is the courthouse, as is any indoor structure for COVID regulations. But you can still come and look at the shiny arch. Yeah, so you could do that.
I don't know. Colin, would you go just look at an arch? Would people just go look at the Statue of Liberty if you couldn't climb up into her hat?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't even go if you could climb up into the arch, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you couldn't even pay me to do something like that, as far as I'm concerned. Well, I don't know. How much would you pay me to do it?
Come just look at it?
Yeah.
I'd pay you about $17.50. That's what I have in
an hour, or
that's what I have in my Venmo. So,
okay.
I like to try to let it build up. So then,
I like how you know what's in your Venmo at all times. That's a good way to live, just in case you need to pack up and leave town very quickly, which you've had to do so many times. Traveling to these different parks.
That's right.
So, what a depressing time for our park workers. We really have to think about them these days. We're all depressed because we can't go to these parks, but it's really the people who love them and who, I know you don't love the elevator all that much, but you love the system in general.
Yeah, I like that I talk to another person, even if it's just pretty mundane. Hey, how many? I got this many. All right, we need to take a break. Hey, what do you think about? Did you watch Love Island last summer? Hey, Margery, we need to keep this channel open. So.
So you tested the boundaries there and asked the Love Island question and were immediately shut down, it seems.
Yeah, maybe not my strongest opening, since also it was last summer and not everyone wants to watch 52 episodes of a British reality show. Because, of course, I'm referring to the British version, Scott.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like you're making any friends at all.
No, but we'll get there, Scott. I'm not worried. Things take time.
You have such a positive mental outlook, a PMO, as I call it. Mm-hmm. And it pains me to hear the sort of depression setting into your voice. It's happening to a lot of us, during quarantine, but I never assumed it would happen to you, and I'm concerned about you.
Oh, that's so nice, Scott. It's so nice. No, I think everything's going to be all right. And it's just, this is a momentary setback. I do have a reoccurring dream, though, where I get transferred to a park that they just call Doesn't Matter. And, yeah, so I'm trying to work through that. But we'll see,
Yeah. You ever have those dreams where you have to give a big presentation to someone in the park?
I have to give a presentation about Doesn't Matter, and it's tough because it has no selling points.
You're just looking for things to talk about. Anyway, sounds like this show. Well, that's too bad. I feel bad. Let's go to a more optimistic topic. Dream SNL cast. You can pick 7. And one has to do update. And it could be anyway. It doesn't have to be famous people. This could be people with whom you've worked at the parks.
Oh, sure. Okay. All right. This is fun. Okay. I'm going to say, give me Buster Keaton.
Sure.
Give me Goldie Hawn.
Okay.
Give me, oh, this is great. I had, one time this gentleman came to, Pinnacles from Canada, and, he asked me, so did you paint those rocks or what? So that
that guy, yeah, he's doing update.
Let me get, that guy's on update. Yeah.
Yeah,
and then, for sure. And then, oh gosh, man, I wish there was someone who had good bee jokes.
It's hard. Colin, I mean, is there any comedian who does bee jokes? I mean, obviously Jerry Seinfeld did the whole bee movie thing.
Bee movie, yeah.
No, I mean, I know somebody must have had bee jokes. There's no way it was an ignored topic, but I can't think of it offhand. It's a big area.
Yeah, when you think about it, there's been so many over the years. Bees.
So many bees. Yeah.
You think we'd be talking about them all the time?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when I was a little kid, this kid, Frankie Lafredo, stabbed me with a bee that he thought was dead. And then it came alive and stung him.
Oh, it stung him. Okay, that's a happy ending.
It's not a great story, but it's a bee story. That's all I have.
So maybe Jerry Seinfeld, because of his B movie affiliation, he can get in there?
Maybe. I don't know. I can't see that guy playing anything but himself. So I don't know if that's super
tough.
Versatile. Yeah. So maybe that lady that Billy Eichner really loves, that he goes back to all the time. That there's that one older lady that he checks in with.
Does he call her, because the title of the show, Billy on the Street, implies that whomever is on the street is who he talks to, and then suddenly he's going back to people. I mean, in a place like New York City, it seems like it's almost impossible. Although, Colin, I guess like in New York City, you'll be walking along and you'll see a friend every once in a while. But I mean, for him to get back to that person over and over, I mean, it seems like there's some sort of tomfoolery there in regards to the show's production.
Yeah, it's a quiz show.
Yeah, there should be a movie breaking down Billy on the Street and how he's cheating when it comes to this woman.
Because the part that I care about of that is that it's on the street. That's the part that I care about.
The Billy's fine, but the street.
On the street matters a lot. Then probably Demi Adijuibe and
interesting. That guy who was dancing on that car?
Mm-hmm. He's recently taken on the melodica, so I feel like there's no end to what that guy can do.
Sure.
What am I at? 5?
Let's say you're at 6, and we'll get
great.
one more.
And then Norm Macdonald.
Okay.
But not for update.
What's he gonna do?
Norm Macdonald. By the way, you're right, because he would do the most underrated sketch. He would do Clint Eastwood. He did the best Reynolds. David Letterman.
Yeah.
I mean, he did these crazy impressions. Really
so if he were untethered from the desk, one can only imagine what he would have been able to do.
Sure.
Yeah. These are good picks, Margery.
Thank you.
Does this make you feel a little better? Just, going into your mind palace and unpacking that?
Yeah, I feel great. Scott, I know that obviously the next time we talk, I'm going to be at a different park. So
look, let's just be honest. Next time you're on the show, you're moving. You're not long for this one.
So it's just, this is just a moment in time. And so I'm just trying to make the most of it. And honestly, it's really rad to know that it's a big triangle. It's actually an equilateral triangle, and its outer width, outside north leg to outside south leg, is 192 meters. And I wanted to switch to the metric system there just because I believe in reaching to both sides. So there you go.
Well,
of how we measure things.
Do you get to say any of this stuff to people in the elevator, or are you pretty much just like saying, hey, sorry, we can only take 2 more, or...
It's a lot of that, Scott. And it's not a long elevator ride, so maybe I pick my favorite. I usually lead with, this is an equilateral triangle. Does anyone know what that means?
And how many people, what's the percentage of people who know what it means?
I'd say it's an equal split between the size of the angles of the triangle.
Oh, no, I know what it means. I'm saying, what is the percentage of people who know what equilateral
I know.
triangle
And
means? I see. Oh, that was your way of answering me.
Yeah. So it's,
I'm confused.
It's probably 60 degrees know what it is, 60 degrees don't know what it is, and 60 degrees are like, does it add up to 180?
Got it. Well, we need to take a break. Marjorie, can you stick around?
I got nothing to do. Oh, wait, Mr. Rafferty, he's getting a snack.
We're going to come right back. We'll have more Colin Quinn, more Margery Kershaw. We'll be right back with more Comedy Bang Bang after this. Comedy Bang Bang, we're back. We have Margery Kershaw, park ranger, over there at the gateway to the west. We also have Colin Quinn, whose show Colin Quinn and Friends, a parking lot comedy show, is out on HBO Max right now. And Colin, you were the director of this show. Can you talk about the frame rate and the how many images per second this you used on this show?
No, I really can't. I have no idea.
Oh dear, Scott Aukerman. I'm afraid.
What happened?
That your reality has shifted. You were just so boring that everyone on your show has simultaneously fallen asleep and entered my realm, the realm of the dreaming.
Oh my God, we're all asleep right now? We're dreaming?
You were asleep. If anyone was listening to your show, they're hearing nothing but silence, for you have entered the realm of the dreaming where I, Lord Morpheus, the king of dreams, is, in charge.
You really ran out.
I couldn't think of a good word, but
at the end of that
I run the show here, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, that's what you're trying to say.
I'm in charge. You've
Morpheus, welcome back to the show.
My pleasure. In a way, of course, I've never been on your show directly. I'm not allowed to
no one has
enter
ever
the waking
heard you
world.
on the show. Yeah.
I only interact with people when they are asleep. So I have been on your show when the guests are all asleep, or I have interacted with
and people have dreamed you on the show because sometimes I've been so boring I put them to sleep.
Yes, my favorite times are when you have been so boring that everybody falls asleep, so I get to interact with everyone who has been on that current show. That's
right. So yeah, this is one of those times, and yes. I would imagine there are several audience members who are asleep right now as well.
If any audience members are hearing me in this, they have also fallen asleep at this exact moment.
Oh, I hope they're not driving.
That would be terrible. There probably will be accidents caused by this.
Yeah, maybe they're folding towels.
If they're folding towels, they might fall gently forward into the towels and just safely dream along.
I hope so. I hope they don't fall
me too.
Perilously back.
Oh, yes. If anybody was walking like on a rope bridge and they were like listening in their headphones to the podcast, they toppled over the side. That would, I cannot take responsibility for that. I am only responsible.
You're not the guy who tells people when to fall asleep. You're the guy who's in charge when they fall asleep.
That's right. It's not my deal when they enter my realm, but once
whose deal is that?
Oh, there's another person who's in charge of taking you over the threshold of dream. His name is Thermos. Thermos has become a silly sort of word in your culture, but
once the Thermos company took it over,
Thermos co-opted that term. But Thermos used to be pretty grand. He would not enjoy knowing what his name has come to.
He doesn't know this, really.
No, he doesn't have a sense of humor. He's a pain in the ass, but he brings people over into the dream world. He decides.
It's interesting because there's so much.
Is it interesting?
I'm not sure. I mean, sort of jury's out on that.
Okay.
But there's so much iconography when it comes to you, Morpheus, the Sandman of like blowing sand into people's faces and making them fall asleep.
That's not what I do.
Thermos's.
Thermos does that. Thermos is blowing sand into people's faces. He's introduces the idea of counting sheep. I don't have anything to do with that. Once people fall asleep, I take over.
Okay.
And I don't like the accusations that I make people fall asleep or that I bore people. I got nothing to do with that.
You don't like that. You would prefer that all the pictures and the cartoons of that just be erased from history.
That should be erased. When it shows me, I should be having a clipboard, checking off nightmares, going over, what emotions people are working with.
Yeah.
By the way, look around. You're in the dreaming. Look around you. Your reality is currently soft. It bends to your emotions and will right now.
Oh my God, I can touch the air.
You can feel the air if that is your wish. Just like in a lucid dream, you have some control over the reality. Colin Quinn, you'll see that you are not in your natural form. You have become a grand and magnificent horse. Look at yourself.
Oh my God, look at you.
You're manifesting as a horse, and a magnificent one at that.
Look at the size of that horse's, you know what I'm saying?
His hooves. He has huge hooves.
Huge hooves.
Thick hooves.
Incredible.
And Colin, I actually am glad that this happened because I have business with you.
What?
Or should I say you have business with me in the dream world. There's unresolved tension that we have to work out through your dreams.
Oh my God, is this about the presentation?
Yes. You have a presentation that you must do, and you must do it successfully in order to resolve this tension. Yeah, you got to. I hope you were listening. I hope you weren't like tuning out or like zoning out. You're involved in this.
Yes.
What is the presentation about?
Because a lot of times, I'll explain as the Lord of the Dreaming. If somebody is particularly stressed out, I take it upon myself to visit them and give them the dream or sometimes nightmare that will resolve and help fix whatever the tension is in their mind.
Dreams sometimes are us working out our own problems.
Absolutely.
And we'll awaken from them sometimes having a little bit more perspective upon them.
Sometimes I teach. Thank you, Scott. Yes, thank you for saying that. Oh, actually, before we get into Colin's yes, Colin?
Oh no, I was just going to bring up some other subject, which is which I've suffered from, which is sleep apnea. Is that part of your realm?
Yeah,
no,
is that you?
No, I'm not.
Guy?
No, I'm not in charge of sleep apnea. I got nothing to do with that. That's another guy.
So you don't give it to someone. You don't take it away. You don't
Is
cure
that
it.
Thermos? Is that Thermos? Or
It's not Thermos.
Guy?
It's another guy named Candelabra.
Candelabra.
Another name that did not mean candelabra when he was named that.
Oh, did they name candelabras, the candelabras we know now that hold candles, after
I
him,
assume
or?
Candelabra was a Zoroastrian god who was in charge of sleep apnea and people having trouble breathing while sleeping. He's also in charge of snoring. I got nothing to do with that. People are trying
But
to
a lot of times, my dreams will be interrupted because I can't breathe. So it's related to the dream.
No.
Yeah, is that frustrating, Morpheus, to deal with Colin? Like he's always in and out, dipping in and out of these dreams?
I'll be dealing with Colin's dreams, and then suddenly Candelabra will give him sleep apnea, and he wakes up, and I can't finish what I was doing. And it's... And
Morpheus, that can be hard, but sometimes you need to remember that you're all on the sleep team. Like it's hard when maybe you're in charge of what happens in the realm. Another guy puts him to sleep.
Yeah.
But ultimately,
you're not
all
at cross
on a
purposes.
sleep team.
You're working together.
It's very tough to remember, Marjorie. I do appreciate your positive outlook and your optimistic advice.
PMO.
It's, what did you call it?
PMO, positive mental outlook.
Yeah, positive mental outlook. PMOs. We call that here in the dreaming too.
Well, Colin, you were in the middle of this dream where you had to give the presentation. Do you remember what the presentation was for?
No, but I was homeless. I had bigger problems than the present. My biggest problem with the presentation was going to be how I could present myself when I was in like urine-soaked rags in a basement.
Well, you are
I had to get up.
You are currently a homeless horse. You are a horse covered in rags in a basement. Look around you. That is what you are.
Aren't all horses homeless? I mean,
I guess in a way
they can't consider they consider stables to be like their jails. I think.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, they're homeless, and I guess they like it when they're homeless. They prefer to be homeless.
Yeah, they're home when they're free.
And this is your dream, Scott. This is your nightmare that you have to unravel. You are a realtor. Look at you with your yellow Century 21 jacket, your finely coiffed hair. Your manila
Why did
folder.
I coif my hair that way?
It looks great. Take a look at it. It's a little. This
is actually better than it usually looks.
Fluffy and feathered, a little late 80s, but it's coming around again.
Yeah, I got to work through this.
You have to sell a home. You have to sell a home but you don't want to do it. You're guilty about doing it because you're trapping people.
You know what? I got a guy who's homeless here. Why don't I sell him a home? Hey, Colin, you want to buy a home?
Yes, I would love to buy a lovely home.
It's got high ceilings because you're a very tall horse. It has instead of floors, it has just earth and grass.
Oh.
And it's got that indoor-outdoor feel, mainly outdoor.
It's confusing for me when people's dreams overlap, but I do allow it.
Yeah, we have 5 bathrooms. Not that you would need them, because I would imagine you're going to go outside.
I feel like you're selling me a stable in some way.
It's zoned as a stable, certainly, but
Scott, you're pretty good at this. I'm actually pretty impressed at your realtor ability.
I mean, yeah, it's not a 2-bedroom Tudor, but it's a stable. But what do I got to do to get you into this stable today?
To follow your heart, Colin, is this where you wish to be?
I wish to be. I used to have that '80s haircut actually. When I'm the one who's actually from those days, and I used to blow dry my hair rather extensively.
You did?
So I can. Yeah.
Did you have to do your own hair on the remote control show? I can't imagine they had a hair person.
That's a good question. No, I think they did have a hair. I can't remember, but it was.
I couldn't watch remote control because I'm always in the dreaming, but I could see when people would dream about the show remote control.
That's right. Morpheus has never seen anything that's literally on our Earth.
Yes.
He just has to see things in our dreams, and he gets the details wrong.
Work backwards. So I have some questions about the show remote control based on people's dreams of it. Yes. My question is, and I'm just basing this on people's dreams of remote control. From what I can tell, there was a game show, but there were also comedic bits or sketches mixed in with the show.
Right.
Is that right?
That's correct.
Were those sketches good? That's my question. How were they?
Well, they were deliberately kind of not that good.
So ironically bad.
There was an ironic distance to them, which is, but you would like remote control, Morpheus, because it was set in the basement of Ken's house, so it was almost like the subconscious kind of thing.
Oh, I love it.
The beds. People on beds,
Yes.
and they would go through the wall, so they would break into that other dimension.
So they're one step away. Another dimension? They're one step away from being in your realm, Morpheus.
Yeah.
Yes, they're so close to being asleep. This must be why it's so appealing to me and that I've noticed so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yes, Margery.
I have a question. No, I'm sorry. I just have a question for the realtor.
Oh yeah. Yes, Margery. Are you in the market for something?
I just wanted to know, is that corral zoned as an ADU or?
Yeah, it's technically you would need to do a little bit of work. You'd have to put a closet in it in one window, but you could get there. I mean, I think $7,500 would get you there probably, and then you'd be able to charge rent. So I would say if you're charging,
Oh no, Scott,
have I put someone else?
You've been so boring within the realm of the dreaming that we have fallen asleep within the dreaming, which means we are going into the sub-dreaming.
We're in a sub-realm of the dreaming?
Yes, and I am not Lord Morpheus. I am another lord who is in charge of the sub-dreaming.
So this is like dreaming's basement?
This is like the basement of the dreaming. My name is Lamp.
Lamp. It's so interesting that all these names are based on lighting fixtures.
Is there lighting fixtures? Yeah, there's sort of...
Are you just looking around the room?
No. My name is Lamp. It's been Lamp for centuries.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure you weren't usual suspecting it.
Nope. I'm not just like looking around. My name is Lamp. And it's been Lamp for centuries, and I'm in charge of the sub-dreaming, okay? This shit gets freaky down here. This is like when you're asleep and then you go deeper asleep. No one even remembers anything they see in the sub-dreaming.
Did I put Colin and Margery to sleep with me?
Let's look around. Let's see if they're here. I don't know.
Colin, are you here? Colin?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Oh, Colin has descended into the sub-dreaming.
Margery?
Yeah, I'm here, but I am a clipboard.
Look at you. Look at you.
No, it's okay. No, I think it's fun.
You seem
Are you just looking around the room?
Listen, I have questions for you. My name, Lamp, just to keep track of everything in the sub-dreaming. I can only see not what people dream of, but what their dreams dream of. So for me, trying to figure out what's happening in the waking world is quite difficult, and I have some questions.
Oh yeah, who do you please ask us any?
So, because people recently must be like watching a lot more TV and movies than normal, because there's been an increased amount of information that's reaching the subdreaming. People must be just like absorbing a lot more media. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, they are. Well, Colin, do you want to take this one? I don't know quite how to explain the novel coronavirus.
Oh, yes. Well, there's been, I mean, I don't know what it would be in dream terms. It's almost like a sleep apnea for the,
that I get.
For the entire world.
Wait, so you only understand things in dream terms?
Yeah. You have to try to put it in like dream terms. I don't really know a lot of what.
So you wouldn't understand like a virus.
I don't quite get that.
It's like a REM cycle for our T cells, and we don't know how to stop it yet.
Now I got it. Okay. That sounds terrible. That sounds terrible.
And we all had to stay inside because we didn't know what to do, and so
I'm sorry.
And there was so much anxiety, Lamp, that many of us have filled every waking moment with media just to quiet and quell the fears inside.
Because I'm getting a lot more information than I usually do. So I just want to.
Yeah.
So there's a television show, I think, about a woman who goes to France, a young woman.
Oh yeah.
And Emily, I believe, is her name.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And what is this show about? It seems to be like that. I really want to know what happened.
I, like a lot of people, have never watched it. I've just read tweets about it.
That's what I feel like. I'm getting like just second degree information.
If you're getting a tweet coming through Morpheus, coming back to Lamp, that's got to be.
It's so confusing.
Very confusing.
Well, it's really hard to pick up irony. Like, is this show good?
I don't think so, but it's hard to tell from the tweets too.
People are intensely paying attention to it, so that would imply that it's good. But if it's
Margery, you want to take this?
Well, I think, it's an entire show that I believe is predicated on the belief that just Instagram posts from an American in Paris would be enough to make her famous. And I think it has
okay, most of these proper nouns I don't totally understand, but I think I get the gist.
Okay,
I think I get the gist.
Okay. Temporal projections that were about a place, and that was enough to bring significance to a young woman.
Wake up, everyone, wake up. You're back in the dreaming. You're not fully awake yet.
Oh God.
You're just one level up. You're just one level up.
I feel like in this, I don't remember exactly what happened in the sub dreaming, but I feel like we were talking about a really boring, implausible show.
Morpheus, did you wake us? Shouldn't that have been Thermos?
Yeah, I feel like that's Thermos' job.
Hey, don't. Sometimes if people are falling asleep, look, he's not around. You were going to be asleep for hours. Oh, God damn it.
Well, I think he did us a favor. We were like traveling down that elevator. Speaking of elevators, Margery, like in Inception, where Leo DiCaprio just kept traveling down.
Inception.
And I don't wanna,
is Inception the movie that's got the Gilbert Grape Kid? And then,
I thought you were going to say Gilbert Gottfried, which I was like, no, I think you're getting.
Sometimes people are dreaming that Gilbert Gottfried is in Inception. Was he in Inception?
No, but I think I would watch it.
Pretty high number of people who dream about Inception, but they put Gilbert.
Where's my totem?
Wow, that was a Norm Macdonald level impersonation right there. You might be in the Dreamcast.
Well, this is incredible, Morpheus. I hate to say this, but when it comes to this program, we are running out of time.
I see.
I don't know how that affects the dream world.
I mean, if your waking self wishes it enough, it is always possible for people to wake themselves up on some level.
Well, we don't want to do that now because I would love to dream about a great feature on this show, one of our favorite features, and one that a new guest certainly wants to participate in. And that would be a little something called Plugs.
Birds. 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 Now Plugs.
Wow, I know I dreamed that Plugs theme because that was trippy.
I love it.
That was Morpheus.
Yeah, that fit right in here.
Yeah, well, I'm dreaming that was called Birds, then Plugs, and I'm dreaming it was by Brian B. Maybe he's dreaming and submitted that to us.
Perhaps he is.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's look. We're here in the dream world. We can plug anything we want, anything we can dream of.
Yes.
By the way, Morpheus, are a lot of people dreaming about Colin Quinn and Friends, a parking lot comedy show on HBO Max right now?
Let me check. There are dreams about Colin Quinn doing stand-up. They don't know what to call it. They're not sure of the name of it, but yes, there's There's people miss stand-up. It seems they miss it. They're not.
They miss
really.
It, yeah. Are there dreams about, is Rich Voss dreaming about how he did on that show?
He's pissed. He's pissed off. He's having a lot of stress and anxiety dreams in which he's punishing Colin Quinn.
Taking it out on Bonnie.
Yeah. He's had it. But yeah, right, he's going through a lot. But everybody is. He's not alone in that. Sure. Everyone's got anxiety these days.
Colin, what do you want to plug here? This is the part on the show where you can plug anything you can dream of.
Anything? All right. I want to plug Bloodsport, which is on. I've watched it. I think it's on Showtime.
I think it is, yes.
I've seen it twice in the past month and a half, and I just think it's really great. I mean, it's a little kitschy, of course, but the basic themes are pretty important. So Bloodsport, Jean-Claude Van Damme, 1989.
Okay. Sure, great. Fantastic.
I've seen people Margery, dreaming of that movie, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people, especially since they got added back to Showtime. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Margery, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, you can listen to an improvised musical podcast called Off Book with Zach and Jess. And, I love The Natural World and I love it being made into a cartoon. You can watch a new cartoon called The Mighty Ones on Hulu or Peacock. And it's about a little leaf and a little rock and a little berry and a little twig.
Oh,
so obviously I'm into it. Very natural.
I mean, those are 4 of your biggest interests.
4 of my biggest. Oh my gosh! If a bee shows up, I'm gonna lose my mind.
But as the antagonist, though, not as a protagonist.
Yeah. You just beware of bees. Treat them with awe and respect.
Isn't that interesting? Beware. Like bee is right there in the title.
It's right there. It's right there. Beware.
We're risking falling asleep back into the sub-dreaming.
Oh no, I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Morpheus, you plug something. Okay. You plug something.
Normally I plug something of a young man named Will Hines, but he does so many projects, it's hard to keep track of what he's doing.
Hard to figure out what he's up to. Like occasionally he has like a long dormant podcast that suddenly an episode will pop up.
That's
on,
right.
It's always taking me by surprise, if not the world.
He seems to manage his career almost as if he doesn't want to be more successful than he is, the way he jumps around. Some would say he's got a bit of an organization problem, but I'm going to make things even more.
He has an ADD of the career.
That's right. ADHD about getting anything done in a linear way. However, I want to plug something that Will Hines has nothing to do with.
Whoa.
It's a podcast.
Is it Bloodsport?
Yeah, it's Bloodsport. That movie's great. It didn't get enough attention. There's a podcast that 2 friends of mine do, and it's so insane. I almost hesitate to plug it, but I binged it this week, and so I'm going to recommend it. It's called What's That From? And it's 2 guys who just ask each other if they remember comedy sketches from the 90s, and they have an insanely encyclopedic knowledge, and they have 9 episodes of over an hour each, and I couldn't stop listening to it. They're just like, do you remember this? They'll go, yes, okay. And then they'll quote something and then be like, that reminds me of this, and they quote insanely
Interesting.
Deep.
Who are the friends?
Nate Smith and Jeff Garlock, friends of Will Hines's from the UCB Theater in New York. I think I see people dreaming of all this. I don't know it directly. Me, Lord Morpheus.
Yeah, maybe Will's dreaming about his friends, which is nice to do for friends.
I guess it's nice. Yeah, he's dreaming of his friends. And this podcast, you got to be a pretty big comedy fan, I think, to be an audience. But I feel like people who dream and listen to this show would enjoy it.
Okay.
What's that from? Yeah.
I want to plug a show that I produced and am in, just hit Netflix. We talked about it on the last episode, but it just came out on Netflix Wednesday, so we're still within the 7-day period, which really counts when it comes to watching things, but it's called Auntie Donna's Big Ol' House of Fun. It stars the Australian sketch group Auntie Donna, really funny guys, and it's a great show. 6 episodes. You have guest stars like Paul F. Tompkins and Weird Al Yankovic and Tawny Newsome, and it's a really funny show. I hope people watch it. So get on that in the next few days if you could. Okay, let's close up the old plug bag.
You start with a C when you want to close it up. You lead with an L and then you O. Horatio comes and then he just says, "Rolling all my life in the days of paradise. Overstated all my life in the days of paradise. Open up the plug bag and open up that plug bag. Open up the plug bag and let me get some plug it up. Open up the plug bag. Open up the plug bag. Everybody wants to open up the plug bag. Just keep it fucking open up the plug. Open up the plug. Open up the plug. Open it up.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, that ends plugs.
Yes.
Guys, I think it's getting to that time where
feel
we
refreshed.
may want to wake up. Yeah.
Yes, you're fading away. Goodbye.
Wait. You're bye, Morpheus. We love you.
Goodbye.
Oh my God. Oh. Ooh. God, I got so many eye boogers. Marjorie,
Wow.
are you awake?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Wait, Colin, wake up. Wake up.
I am awake.
Oh, sorry, I just wanted to shake
about
you.
the frame rate?
Yeah, I asked the worst question about the you directing something, Colin, and I think we all fell asleep. Do you remember anything that's happened to us in the last 20 minutes?
No, but I feel like we almost did our plugs. I dreamt that we did our plugs during the dream segment.
I think we did, yeah. I dream. I feel like you owe me money, Colin, for a, does this make sense, a stable?
Yes.
Okay, if you could just Venmo me that. I know exactly what's in my Venmo right now, so I'd love to add to it.
Scott, I feel like maybe I didn't get to plug in the dreams. Could I plug really quick? I think it's on Showtime, Bloodsport.
No, I think that was covered. For some reason, I feel like Bloodsport was...
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Were we dreaming
saying
about
it.
Bloodsport for some reason?
I didn't remember saying it, so.
The saddest thing about Marjorie, when Marjorie Stewart has subsidized housing, when I was in Orlando, when I didn't go to Disney World, we were shooting MTV, the remote control show, and we lived in the subsidized housing for Disney employees. And the first day we showed up, there was like a dog day afternoon siege with one of the people that went crazy. And I feel like it might have been the Mr. Rafferty of 1989.
Oh my!
Wait a minute,
goodness.
are we back in the dream?
No.
Yes, you have fallen asleep again.
Oh no, Colin, you put us to sleep again.
I'm sorry. I'll try to wait. It's Thermos's job, but I'll try to wake you
we
up.
just got to end the show. We're going to have to end it when we're asleep.
All right.
But it's true, I swear to God.
I know, as true as it was, unfortunately,
so
it was boring.
dreamlike you fell back in the dreaming.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll see you on the next episode when we're all awake. Colin, thanks so much for being on the show. Great to talk to you.
Thanks, Scott.
And no, not now. I'm calling things by what's
You're
in my line
dreaming
of
of
vision.
a former guest.
Marjorie, great to talk to you. Morpheus, great to talk to you. We'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.